solution and what we're going to do to make it right. The problem. We had clusters of customers who experienced low August water readings and high September readings. We will talk about how many customers may have experienced this and how we were able to identify them. The solution. We will discuss what we are doing and going to do to protect utility customers from this kind of problem in the future. And what are we going to do to make it right? Now that we have identified the affected customers, we are going to take steps to rectify the situation and work to make customers whole so that they are not harmed by the low-high anomaly. Finally, I want to reiterate that we are committed to improvement in customer service, correct billing, excellent customer service, and accurate data. These are all things that customers should expect. These are things that I expect. We apologize to those impacted by the situation, and we hold ourselves accountable for improving our processes so this does not happen again. Next, I would like to invite Greg Mazzaros, Director of Austin Water Utility, to the podium. Greg.
Thank you, Jackie. I'm Greg Mazzaros. I'm Director of Austin Water. And first, I just echo all the comments that General Manager Jackie Sargent made, that we apologize to our customers, and that a fundamental building block of customer service and great utility service is reliable, accurate meter reading and billing, and that we're committed to work in close partnership with Austin Energy to see that we take the steps to make our customers whole from this event, as well as take steps to make sure that this doesn't happen into the future, and that we not only strengthen our host system but provide customers better tools in the future to help manage their water use. Austin Water has a tiered rate structure which bills more for more water that you use, so accurate meter reading and billing and water use tools are very critical for our customers, and we're committed to taking all the steps for that to happen into the future. And again, we'll just communicate that we're going to make customers whole. We're working hard on this, and we're working in close partnership, and we'll take all necessary steps to get on the right path. And with that, I'd be changing now and having Carrie Overton from Austin Energy come and go into a little more detail.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. My name is Carrie Overton. I'm the Chief Customer and Compliance Officer here at Austin Energy, and the customer care operation reports to me. We've been working very closely with Austin Water and their team to look into the issue that the General Manager just spelled out for you. We've been working several months to understand the scope of these low and high water reads, and we also started our initial work on this by working through individual accounts very late into the summer, into the early part of the winter. It became apparent to us that the problem was larger than we first had understandings about. As our customers began to call in to us, we then began a process of analyzing well over 1 million something lines of data for over 206,000 customers to determine who had a low reading in August and a high reading in September. And we tried to look for any of the commonalities around such a data run. It's clear that the meter reading associated with about 17,800 customers exhibited this pattern. They were likely situated around 135 routes throughout the city. And the city, we totally have 1,080 routes total. We're working with the meter reading company that serves Austin throughout that August period into September to make sure that we're doing all of the analytical work. They're cooperating with us and giving us the data that we need to review more specifics into the count, and our investigation of all of that data analysis will continue. As for an immediate solution, we've already implemented some very important steps. Now, at this point, every meter that's being read throughout the city would be accompanied by a photograph immediately at the time of the meter reading. And this is crucial because it'll also show us the GPS positioning of the meter reader at the time of the meter being read, and it would also give us one additional indication for backup to confirm the read that went into our system. We also have already begun a financial solution to this matter and implemented a system that will just simply make this right for our customers. We will be adjusting bills for 7,400 customers if their September usage exceeded their August usage. Let me repeat that. The adjustments will be for the customers where their September usage exceeded their August usage. We will do this by a smoothing, which is a term for averaging those 2 months. And if this reduces the customer's total bill for 2 months, we will be providing them a credit. If not, we will take no additional action. Let me bring back to you General Manager Jackie Sargent.
I would like to share that I started my career in customer service nearly 30 years ago, and to this day, I am passionate about exceptional customer service. I've heard stories about service that was not exceptional, and my team and I are committed to addressing these issues and restoring customer confidence. With us today, we do have several technical people that will help us to address questions that you may have, and with that, we will welcome your questions.
And let me just also add that a number of our executives have an event after this, so we will be when we break, we will not probably have opportunity for one-on-ones, so we'll take any questions at this time.
Have any of the people who were doing the meter readings either been fired, disciplined, or retrained as a result of this?
Carrie, you want to address the question about how we have that under contract?
Yeah, as it relates to the contract, the vendor who reads our meters, we're still doing that investigation to find out beyond the routes what actually happened on those unusual reads during that time period. The action that has been taken so far is they're committing to a team to work through the data. We have no other reason to take a disciplinary action as you suggested here. We don't have that data, but we are working with them to continue the analysis. Well, yes, throughout this entire process, the training and the quality control around it has been a big emphasis of what we're doing. We're looking at all of the aspects of everything that happens from a read going into the system and uploaded to our billing system. There are multiple processes associated with it. We're looking at every aspect of that, and we're also training around those improvements, and in fact, we're putting more quality control checks in place. And I would go on and say something that Yep. And also at this time period, when we're speaking of the August, September of 2017, that contract had expired, and we now have a new vendor that has been rewarded the contract, and that's Burmex, and they started taking the reads late September, moving into the winter, and currently are doing it now.
And I just want to confirm, Burmex started in September?
In September, thank you.
Yes. This is a question for Greg. Did the defender's story raising attention to this issue dictate how you made your decision on what to do about this?
Greg, you want to step forward?
I think it's a whole combination of events. Obviously, the thousands of calls from customers, the concern expressed by those customers, the analytical work that we did to analyze all the routes, working with Austin Energy to determine that there were some irregular data patterns with some of the routes. Reflection of all of that led to kind of a conclusion that there were enough irregularities that we needed to take actions to correct customer bills.
And for customers who have concerns after hearing this news, do you have assurance that you can offer them that there aren't other parts of their bill, other months that also have incorrect readings or have miscalculations on them, that this isn't the only problem that they've faced in being customers?
Elaine Vaselka will answer that question. She's Chief of Revenue Measurement and manages this area.
So for the water bill portion, and that's what we're referring to, we did go back and look at a fair number of customers who had pictures, because our previous vendor, before we started taking pictures of every meter read, would take pictures if usage was extremely high or extremely low. So we've been able to go and kind of bookend the issue with pictures from July validated with reads and pictures in September. And then through analysis, we don't feel that this has extended anything beyond the unusual August-September usage pattern. Yes.
Maybe add to, the team is also evaluating past escalations over this year. They're reviewing all the escalations and making sure that we're attending to all customer concerns. Even if they didn't fit into this exact pattern or one of these routes, we are going to be examining all of the escalations and re-examining those for any necessary credits.
When will these credits and how will they be distributed? When is that going to happen?
The affected customers will be receiving letters within the next 5 to 10 days, the first wave. The credits we are attempting to start with February bills. It may be a couple of days into February before we get started, but our plan is to have all credits issued within the normal monthly cycle of 12 billing cycles. So I would say at the latest by mid-March, I believe.
I'd like to invite Drew McGross up at this point to kind of talk a little bit about the variety and how this impacts different types of customers and different usages and what kind of credit could be generated. You want me to?
I'm Drew McGross. I'm a division manager with Austin Water. And the examples here on the board are 3 hypothetical customers who may or may not receive the bill smoothing credit. And so it shows you that in the first case, the customer had a very, very low August use, followed by a much higher September use. For the resolution of this issue, we are simply smoothing the usage over the 2-month period. And we've confirmed through data analysis that for these affected customers, that 90% of those customers had an August use and September use in 2017 that was the same or less than that same period in 2016. So we've done the analysis to make sure that we're not charging customers more by this method than they were charged in previous years. In each case, it will be individual to the customer as to what tier they were billed at, how the credits will affect their bill. There may be some customers who are getting a higher credit because of the way their water was distributed. Other customers who generally have higher use may not see as much of a credit. And there are some cases where customers stayed within tiers or moved water use, or their water use was shifted in such a way that it would not result in a credit. In some cases, it may have charged the customer more if we were to smooth their usage. To reiterate, customers will not be charged more as a result of this episode. We are smoothing those accounts where it results in a credit. The average credit for these 7,400 customers who will receive the adjustment is around $20.
And do you mind clarifying how many customers were affected? Did you guys estimate?
We looked at all of our meter reading routes to see where August was lower than September on average. We found 135 routes that exhibited that anomalous pattern. We looked at every individual customer account on those routes, about 32,000, to see which of those showed an individual account where August was lower than September by any factor. We found 17,800 customers who did have that usage pattern. Again, sometimes it was small, sometimes it was large. Of those, 7,400 were charged more in August and September than they would have been had their usage been billed equally for those 2 months. Those are the customers getting the credits. We also looked at that whole pool of customers who had the lower August-September usage to see any cases where their usage was 3 times their historical use. We've identified those customers and we'll be notifying them about additional remedies that they may be eligible for, including our high bill water administrative adjustment. That is approximately 700 customers. We're still narrowing that number to make sure that we have that correct. Those customers will receive a notification of other remedies that may be available to them.
So of the 17,800 customers that were affected, some of them obviously probably won't be getting a credit back. What would you say to them?
I would say that in this case, they were either, the billing either had no financial difference or over that total 2-month account period, or would have resulted in a higher charge for them.
Elizabeth?
Given that the contract with Corex has ended, if they were found to be at fault, would the city have any recourse or expect to pursue any kind of action against them?
Carrie, again?
Given that they have expired and they're no longer operating the contract, that would be an issue we'd have to take up with our legal team, what's in the provisions as to what next steps would happen. But we are already in the process of talking with all of our contract personnel and our legal team to see that. But we're also, again, as I stated earlier, they have been cooperating with us to help look into every aspect of what they turned in as reads, and we're continuing to comb through that data.
Just to clarify for everyone, the function of reading meters is a contracted function. We had a vendor, Corex, with us for some time, and that contract was completed in August, late August of this year. Burmex now has the contract for meter reading. By the way, we have some photographs fresh from today of our Burmex contractors is actually taking photographs of the meters. So if you guys want that, we can make that available to you. I think we may even have a little stretch of video on that.
So what is going to happen to the meters that are estimated?
Let's kind of discuss the concept of estimated meters, because I think that's not a well-understood concept.
So these, the accounts that we're talking about are accounts where a read was entered into the system. So these were not estimated. We do look at estimated bills and estimated reads on a monthly and annual basis. And for water bill segments, we average less than 1% of bills estimated on an annual basis. We looked back through 2017, the numbers were in line, everything was within what we expected. So there was not, this is not caused by a high number of estimated bills. And also to confirm, the meter readers do not estimate a bill. If they're unable to obtain a read, they enter a trouble code or a skip code or something that gives us specific information why the read could not be obtained. We attempt to validate the read. If we're unable to, then the billing system will estimate the read based on previous consumption. And as soon as a valid read is obtained, we will appropriately rebill the customer.
And how confident should the users who were affected by this back last year be moving into this year that this won't happen again to them?
You know, as previously mentioned, we are going through from soup to nuts every process within the meter to bill arena to strengthen up and shore up any quality measures, make sure we have good checkpoints in place, even better than what we had. And we also, the meter read photographs play a lot into restoring confidence that the read that was obtained is what was on the customer's meter.
I would add a little bit to that too. Certainly the pictures of every read, GPS coordinate of every read, we'll be able to physically AE through that vendor that a meter reader was there present at that time. But beyond that, Austin Water, independent of Austin Energy, has deployed a meter reading quality control team that will be out gathering its own reads to verify that the meter reader vendor is performing appropriately, and we'll be providing our own analytical work, certainly sharing that and collaborating with AE, but that'll be a process where we'll gather tens of thousands of independent verification quality control reads each year moving forward. We're actively engaged in a project where we'll invest about $80 million over the next 5 years to change out every single meter in our system and go to an advanced meter infrastructure where customers won't rely on monthly meter reads as their billing point, that these will be systems that can give customer moment-to-moment water use independent of any meter reading. We won't even have meter reading 4 or 5 years in the future. This will all be done through more of a digital customer portal where we can give these improved tools to customers where they can see their water use day to day, if their irrigation system ran, their pool usage, whatever the case may be. Obviously, it's going to take us a little bit of time to work through that. We've already got pilot projects underway in several neighborhoods, and Council's authorized us to move forward with this project. We've been approved for funding from the state of Texas, so it's going to change significantly into the future as we get into more of that advanced meter infrastructure.
I think we have time for 1 or 2 more questions, if there are any. If not, I want to thank you for being here today, for also your reporting on this topic. And Jennifer Herber will be here, I will be here, and Jenny Guerrero will be here from Water also to help you with any additional media issues. Again, thank you very much for being here today.